Hi guys, welcome to another recap video from New Zealand's biggest gap year, which is a gap year where Robin and I did 365 days of 365 activities. It happened a few years ago, so now we're doing this recap video so we can go through some of the comments and questions you guys had during the first time round when we published this video. In this episode we're heading to the Talbot Forest in Geraldine to do some amazing bushwalks, so check out the experience and I'll see you toward the end of the video. This morning we're waking up in the beautiful Rafferty Backpackers, where today we don't really have much of a plan, but our hosts at the Backpackers suggested that we go check out the Talbot Forest.
Right, let's see what this track has to offer.
It has no time on it, so
It's either super long or super short.
Who knows what we're getting ourselves into right now. The Talbot Forest is a scenic reserve pretty much found in the centre of the little township of Geraldine, and it's connected with a whole network of walks which are really short, really easy to do, but you just seem to dive into this completely native forest which is around 800 years old. The first track that we're checking out is the Kahikatea track, named after the tallest type of tree that you can find in New Zealand native forests. They can reach up to 40 meters tall, and there's a ton of them right here at the Talbot Forest. The really cool thing about going on New Zealand bushwalks though is that you can often see a lot of native wildlife. For instance, we're on the lookout for a fantail.
Throughout all the guided tours that we've been doing, we gathered heaps of tips on how to attract New Zealand wildlife, including how to mimic the fantail's call. And within only seconds, a fantail is coming down from the top of the trees to check us out. They're super inquisitive, and that fantail call definitely attracted. That's just awesome. The track then leads us to a massive picnic area and then leads us to a next track. The next track that we're going to be tackling is the Totara track. The good thing about all those little tracks that we're doing is that they are all about 10 to 15 minutes long, so we can do a lot today. The Totara track is leading us to, well, a lot of Totara trees, and the oldest one in this forest is 800 years old. Totara trees are huge, and they used to be used by Maori to create waka, which are their war canoes, and the biggest trees could produce canoes that could hold up to 100 warriors.
The Totara track then leads us onto another little track called the Matai Track, named after another group of trees found in this forest. And these trees have to be my favourite. They have such weird markings on them, a little bit like those army cameo markings. I know, it caught my interest. The Talbot Forest is quite a small forest at only 26 hectares, but this is actually what the whole of the Canterbury area used to look like before the humans migrated to New Zealand. Despite the forest being super close to the Geraldine town centre, it really feels like we're in a super wild environment. There's a lot of really interesting vegetation to look at. Among the giant trees, there's all these vines that are wrapping themselves around each other. It really has a lot to see. The final track that we're hitting today is the Reservoir track, pretty much named because there's a bit of a reservoir in the middle of it, but we do see some more wildlife, which is these cute little dragonflies. Who says that it's all about the birds in New Zealand? There's some pretty cool insects as well.
And around the end of the reservoir track, we are led back toward the Matai Track, which is going to take us back all the way to our camper van. So we are passing in front of beautiful Totara trees again, beautiful Matai trees again, and a lot of really lush, luxuriant New Zealand forests. Before we round up this track, we have forgotten to mention that there is heaps of information panels along the way about the early Maori settlers that made a big mark into the region back in the days. But it's now time for us to head back toward our camper van and make our way back to the Rafferty Backpackers without forgetting to stop by the supermarket. So yeah, everything was great, everything was going good. But then we decided to go to the supermarket, buy some bread and ice cream, and one of the roof beam decided to lodge itself into the camper van. Admittedly, I kind of drove into it. So we now have a massive hole right here, right above where we sleep, which is fantastic.
In short, Robin's pissed off, but at least there's plenty of entertainment at the Rafferty Backpackers. Like this swing ball said, I mean, who's played this game since they were 9? At least it's a good way to keep your mind off your camper van problems. Shit happens and we'll just have to be more careful next time.
And to top it all off, Robin breaks his jandals, and he is not happy about it.
Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed watching that video of the beautiful Talbot Forest in Geraldine of the South Island. Now let's take a look at some of the comments you guys had from when we published this video the first time around. We had Chad and Steph saying, very cool, that is some wild vegetation with the vines and different formations. Really cool to see. Thanks for showing us. You are very welcome. Henry the Paleo Guy says, it's a really nice place. Apparently, Tui have returned to the area, which is likely the result of successful trapping of pests. So yes, what you'll find in New Zealand on many of the hiking trails, you'll see sort of wooden boxes with a grating in the middle, and these are traps for some introduced species of pests, usually mammals like possums or stoats, that sort of thing, which are a threat to the native wildlife in New Zealand, which are the birds, because yes, most native wildlife or native land wildlife in New Zealand are birds. So there is a lot of conservation efforts in New Zealand to help boost the populations of these threatened species, and a lot of pest trapping happens in various communities, in forests and along hiking trails to help boost populations and protect some of those native birds. So that is probably what Henry is talking about. We have Chasing Adeline saying, that is what I like about New Zealand. You can just go anywhere and find some amazing hikes. Never a boring day in New Zealand. Nice video. Thank you very much, Chasing Adeline. And yeah, that is it for our comments for the Talbot Forest. If you do have any comments or questions of your own, you can just always pop them in the comments section of our YouTube videos, or you can join us during our live session, which we do every single Sunday at 8 a.m. New Zealand time. And during that session, we go through all your guys' New Zealand travel questions, so you can ask anything about traveling in New Zealand to the experts that write nzpocketguide.com, and which, by the way, head over to nzpocketguide.com for more information about traveling in New Zealand. It is 100% free for you guys to use, so why not use it? Alright guys, I'll see you for the next video.